Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. So this video has been a long time coming, but as you can see, I have this black watercolor paper here in front of me. This is by Van Gogh. It is Van Gogh Royal Talons. It's their black watercolor paper, obviously. It's 140 pounds. The sheet is 8.3 inches by 11.7 inches, so it's A4. And I bought this paper, well, let's see, it was when I was in Europe, so April of 2019, and since then it's been sitting in my studio waiting to be used. And then a couple of my friends made videos with black watercolor paper, and I saw those and I was like, I really should use my black watercolor paper. So it seemed like the time. It was Halloween, and I was just like, this is a good time to use black watercolor paper for the first time. Well, it's not really for the first time, it's like sort of for the first time. I've tried painting on black paper before for Palettefull packs, but I don't know, I'm not sure how much of it's been painting. I feel like most of it, if not all of it, has been pencils. So I don't know, but I warmed up to try to figure out how the paper worked with this little rose flower painting sketch thing. Wow, eloquent I am. And I am using the Daler Rowney FW acrylic inks for this. These are really awesome because they are water resistant, but they're inks, so they're thin, and I can kind of water them down and use them like watercolors, but they have a little bit more opacity to them. They're a little bit more opaque, so I thought they would work a little bit better on the black paper. And also they have a bunch of metallic colors, which I have, that I thought would look really pretty as well. So I mixed those metallic colors in, and as you can see, it shines really nicely on the paper. Because they're water resistant, because they're acrylic ink, you can kind of let them dry and then you can kind of glaze back over, which is actually what I'm doing right now on the leaves. I'm using a little bit of the dark green, or I think it might have just been dark blue, to go over and add some shadows. And then I use some champagne gold. And since it's dry, then when I add in this watery background, I don't have to worry as much about it smudging and smearing the edges of the flower, which was really nice. So this was my test to see how everything was going to work on this paper. It says watercolor paper, but then I used acrylic inks, but whatever. I thought it was a cute little rose flower, and I liked it. And I wanted to do something that was a little bit more detailed to really test out the paper. And also, I forgot that I wanted to make spooky art, and a rose wasn't as spooky. I mean, a rose can be spooky, but that one specifically wasn't very spooky. So I wanted to do something more spooky. Ergo, the second picture, which is this guy. So I decided to take a little screenshot of my Animal Crossing island at Halloween. I have a little Halloween area on my Animal Crossing island. I have a Halloween area, and I think it's adorable. I mean, it makes me happy, so that's the important part. Also, I have the metal music playing, and sometimes my little villagers will come and they'll sing the metal music in the Halloween area, and it's great, especially when Marina the pink octopus does it. It's just so joyful. It makes me happy. So I went to my island and I used my camera and I took a little photo thing, and I used that as a reference to paint a little scene landscape of my Animal Crossing Halloween area, and I thought it was a really cute idea, and so I painted it, and it was fun. The idea itself was fun. I enjoyed painting my Animal Crossing island. I want to do it again. I did get kind of frustrated towards the end just because it was just so metallic. I was using so many metallics, which was fun, but also with the lights shining down on it and the angle I was at was kind of a little hard sometimes to see what I was doing. But I do think it came out pretty cute, and I'm really happy with it. And hopefully you guys like it too. The paper, by the way, I love this paper. This paper is really thick. It feels like really thick cardstock, and I really enjoyed painting on it, and I kind of want to try if they have regular watercolor paper. I don't see why they would have black and not regular watercolor paper. I really don't. So I've got to look and see and maybe try that, because I really like how this paper handles things. It was really nice to paint on with the acrylic inks. And overall, as far as like actual paper goes, very, very impressed. Enjoyed it. Did get kind of like, after a while, I was like tired of painting on the black paper because it's just such a reverse way of thinking a little bit, because you're painting highlights on, especially when you're painting in a watercolor type medium that's like extra backwards. So I don't know. I was just like, my brain had a hard time comprehending it sometimes. But I enjoyed myself nonetheless. I enjoyed working in a lot of like glazing and a lot of different layers. So one thing that I found was a really pretty technique, or at least I thought it was a really pretty technique, was when I would put on metallic and use that as a highlight, and then I would take another color, like a thinner non-metallic color, and I would glaze that over the top of it once it was dry, and it would kind of tone down that metallic and tint it. And I did that quite a few times. I did it on the trees, I did it on the bush in the background. I don't think I've done it yet in the video. I've done it a couple times in the video, but I will do it like on the trees in the video, and you'll see it. It'll be like all the trees. And that was a technique that I really enjoyed using. See, I'm doing it right now. I'm a master psychic. So it works really well to kind of tone down some of that metallic, and then you can use the metallic as like the highlight, because that really attracts the light, so it draws your eye more. So you can kind of combine using the non-metallics and the metallics to create varying levels of where the detail is going to catch. So then I went in back over with the metallic right where the moonlight hits, and that I kept really bright because I wanted that to catch your eye more and kind of feel more radiant, I guess. I think that using all the metallics was really nice for a moonlit dark scene, because it really helps, I don't know, convey that kind of moonlight glow, which was fun. That said, I do want to do another picture on this black paper where I just use probably like acrylic inks or gouache maybe, and I don't use metallic, because as I said, I did get kind of frustrated just like constantly battling with the glare of the metallic, and then you have to try to see the true color, and it was almost like painting. It was kind of like painting on two levels, because you had the shine of the metallic, but you also had the color. So you had to kind of match everything up, if that makes sense. It had to work when the light was hitting it, but it also had to work when no light was hitting it. And it's almost like you have two completely different paintings when the light is hitting it versus when the light isn't hitting it. When you have that much metallic in your painting, it's just kind of crazy. And then I could go in and layer the non-metallics over to bring things back down. I don't know. It was really interesting using metallics in that way. I tend to use them more as highlights versus throughout the entire piece, which I did in this piece. I used them kind of throughout the entire piece in tandem with everything else. So I don't know. Have you guys ever used metallic paints this way before? And have you used black watercolor paper? If you have used black watercolor paper, what do you use on it? Do you use just like regular watercolors? Do you use metallic watercolors? I used metallic specifically because it said these were perfect with the Van Gogh metallic and interference colors, which I don't have, but I had these, so I use these. I do have other like metallic watercolors I think could be interesting to use on top, but then I wonder, like, do I want to use gouache with that? I don't know. What do you use with black watercolor paper, and have you tried it, and would you want to try it? The specific kind, the Van Gogh Royal Talons, I loved. It's really, really thick. It's a really nice quality. It didn't tear when I took off the masking paper, which was nice. It didn't warp or buckle or anything. It's just like really thick cardstock. I don't know. I like it. I like the paper. 10 out of 10. Thumbs up. Definitely hurts my brain a little bit. But I'm happy with the result. It was fun to paint something spooky. I'm not a landscape painter, and I don't know. I've been really enjoying painting landscapes and painting botanical things and natural things recently, but I tend to get really, really bored and frustrated with like perspective and little finicky details. I just kind of like start going numb. I don't know. I like either I'll like hyper focus on something or I'm just like, I don't care, you know? So I have a hard time with perspective, but I was like, you know what? In Animal Crossing, the perspective's already warped, so it's fine. Yay. As I draw a really wonky circle on the screen. So whenever I approach, because I'm not like, I don't know, I try with perspective. Don't get me wrong, I do try. But because I'm not naturally, I don't know, attuned, I feel, to getting perspective right, like straight lines and stuff like that. And I don't know, I get really bored and distracted with all the details. I try to kind of work with that, I guess, to an extent. I try to go into it with the mindset whenever I'm painting a landscape specifically, of trying to capture the vibe, I guess, or get an impression of it versus realistically depicting the, you know, exactly what I'm seeing, because I have a phone for that. And honestly, I have a boyfriend who's an amazing photographer who can create a much better depiction of it than I can. But I'm trying to capture more of my own impression of it. And so that kind of helps me. Like, I'm not saying don't improve perspective and don't focus on that kind of stuff. But if you're like me and you get kind of stressed out about it, that's what makes me avoid drawing. Like I avoid drawing buildings and stuff and have avoided drawing landscapes and trees because I'm not as good at them. And then I'm like, oh, well, like I'm really good at this, but then I'm not as good at this. So then like, I don't want to draw that because then I don't feel as good. You know what I mean? It's like you want to avoid things if you're not as good at them, or if you don't feel like if you feel like more frustrated with them, and you want to go and draw the things that make you happier. But more and more I've been finding myself like, no, I want to draw this stuff. Like I'm just avoiding it because I feel like I'm not good enough. And that's stupid, because you're never going to get better if you avoid something. Like you don't learn how to do something by not doing it, you know? So I've been trying to do that, but go into it with more of that mindset of I'm just here to capture the vibe, capture the essence, just have a good time and enjoy myself, and not get too hung up on all of the teeny little things, because it just, when somebody's looking at it, honestly, they don't know what the freaking building looks like. If they don't know that building had 5 windows instead of 4, okay, it's not a big deal. And art isn't perfect. And if if it was perfect, it would be boring. So I don't know. That's my whole little like thing. Not to say that none of this is to excuse bad perspective or anything like that. It's just more this idea that sometimes the fear of not being able to do something well stops somebody from doing something entirely. And that shouldn't be happening. And it happens to me all the time. And if there's one thing that I've learned through my short 30 years on this earth, is that if it's happening to you, then it has happened to somebody else. Like if you were feeling something, then someone else is feeling or has felt that something. That is literally one of the like things that I have based my YouTube channel around in terms of like art advice, is like, if I've struggled with this, then someone else has to have struggled with this before. So I'll talk about it, you know? So yeah, anyway, I went on a little bit of a tangent because I finished talking about the watercolor paper, but this is pretty close to finished, and I'm really happy with it, actually, despite the frustrations and wanting to, you know, be done with it because of all the little details and things. I think it came out really cute, and it was just, I don't know, it was nice to have something that was kind of like, I created the landscape in Animal Crossing, but then I took the photo of the landscape and then I painted it. Like, it's like I did it all the way through. It's all me, which I don't know, that's fun. So I might paint more Animal Crossing landscapes. Let me know if I should. I probably will anyway, but let me know if you want to see them, because I think it was a good time. So thanks so much for watching. I love you all. Stay safe. Remember to wear a mask. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.